If you're trying to get a hold of your spending, but keep getting stuck because you think you've tried everything you can, then you've come to the right place because I want to check that you've tried everything. Firstly, if you know your spending is out of sync, or you're in debt, or your income is lower than where you want it to be, but your spending matches that higher income that you want to have but don't quite have yet, then know that you're on the right path. Clicking on a video like this is exactly the right step you want to take, and I'll try my best to help you. After all, this channel is all about fixing your finances so you can be in control of your money. And I know there's conflicting information around about how you can do this, and even whether you should do this. There's some that don't believe in cutting costs at all, and others that just want to live in the moment. They want to live for today and not for tomorrow. And I do understand that feeling. My simple take on it is this: if you always live for today and live excessively for today, then when tomorrow, and not the 10 years from now tomorrow, but tomorrow actually comes, or next month comes, or next year comes, your excessive spending today will have ruined what could have been a beautiful tomorrow. The psychology problem behind this, of course, is that there is no quick hack for getting there. It does take a bit of discipline, and not some crazy straitjacket discipline, a bit of discipline and consistency. I also know that growing your income and going all out on this is where the true wealth building really happens. But one, not everyone is in that position at the moment. And two, I want my solid foundations to be in place first. I call this my financial bucket. If my financial bucket is leaking, then no matter what I put in at the top, it's always going to leak through. You need to fix that leaky financial bucket first. Sort that foundation out, then get going on doing more with your money and growing it. But just before we get into that, I'd like to say a big thank you to the sponsor of this video, which is, well, me. So do please check out my other videos on this channel over here that you're watching already. Oh, and then there's this game. You have to tap the like button on this video at the time that you think that most other viewers will also tap that like button. So if you think that most people will hit the like button right now, then go on, you tap it too. And if you think that they might tap it at 4 minutes and 12 seconds, then wait until that moment and hit the like button then. For that one person that hits the like button closest to where others tap it, you will win a prize which will be announced at the end of the video. So your costs. You think you've tried everything, but have you? Here's some steps I would take if I was in your position. I would log into my bank account and look at my last 3 months worth of transactions. Not just 1 month, but 3 months. Then I'd open up a spreadsheet, Excel, Google Sheets or something similar, and literally begin listing out what all the outgoings are. All you need for now is 3 columns: date of the transaction, detail of the outgoing item, and amount, i.e. how much it is. That's it. List it out. If you're serious about this, and I mean really serious, then listing this out is essential. Because I bet some of you have tried cutting by just thinking about what your regular expenses are, or by trimming the low-hanging fruit, like clothes, shopping, or Deliveroo takeaway meals. But you'll see from this listing out exercise that there's way more that you spend on that you either didn't think about, or it was a fleeting thought in your mind that you quickly disregarded. This first step of listing everything out is to get everything on the table. No decisions are being made at the moment about what you can or can't cut. It's just gathering the information dispassionately, without judgment, without thinking about it even. If it appears in your transactions list, in the outgoing section, then it gets added to the sheet. Once you've done that, do you really think you're done? If you do, think again. Answer this for me. How many bank accounts do you have? Not savings accounts, but current accounts or checking accounts, where any money comes out from. Yep, you know what I'm going to say. Repeat this listing out process for every other bank account you have. Remember, this is the outgoings for the last 3 months for each of your bank accounts. And by the way, this is the time to add a 4th column to your spreadsheet. This should be labeled source. So say you have a Barclays current account, which you listed all your outgoing transactions from first. Then in the source column, you would add Barclays current account into each of those cells next to those transactions. Then when you repeat this listing out process for your next bank account, maybe this is with HSBC, then you put HSBC current account in the source column next to all of those rows. Okay, so now you have at least 1 and maybe 2 or more bank accounts listed out. All the outgoings from each for the last 3 months are listed out. Think you're done? Not yet. You've done the accounts now. Now it's time for credit cards. I have 2 main credit cards that I use. I have others too, but those don't get used. So for me, I'd look at the last 3 months of credit card statements for each of those 2 cards and add those to my spreadsheet too. You may be able to export these transactions into a CSV file and then copy and paste those transactions into your spreadsheet to make this easy for you. But whichever way you do it, you need to list it out. This is the bit that a lot of people might skimp on. But again, if you're serious about doing this properly and know that it's in your own benefit to doing so, then you will spend the time. And by the way, no one is saying that you need to do all of this in one sitting, but you do need to do this within a few days, maximum of a week. If it's taking you longer than this, then it's probably because you're avoiding it. You need to do this. Remember, you clicked onto this video for a reason, and this is just about getting everything onto the table. No decisions are being taken about what you can and can't cut at the moment. As I said earlier, it's just about gathering all the information, the data, dispassionately and without judgment, without thinking about it even. If it appears in your credit card list, then it gets added to your spreadsheet. Simple. In the source column, I would put down Amex credit card if it came from my American Express credit card, and Halifax credit card if it came from my Halifax credit card statement. Some of you may have store cards. I don't have any store cards, so it is not a problem for me. But if you have a store card and you spend money on it, then outgoing transactions from that card should be added to your spreadsheet as well. And other things you spend from as well. For example, you might spend from your spouse's card, your buy it now, pay later facility, or whatever else. This should all be looked at. This is about getting all of your outgoing transactions over the last 3 months into that spreadsheet. And another tip, remember to save your spreadsheet periodically as you add data into it. You don't want to do all this work and then suddenly have your spreadsheet crash on you. Otherwise, you'll have to start again because you have to, because you're serious about this. Or you could just save as you go. Now you've done this. Amazing. What an achievement. Well done. I know it's a lot, but you've proved that you're serious about sorting this out. Now you want to figure out what your biggest spend areas are and the things that appear multiple times over those 3 months. Because you might have something in that list that you've spent £400 on, but you might also have something that you spend £150 on every month. Even if an item appears at £150 a month, it might not appear that big to you. But over 3 months, it's £450, even more than that single one-off £400 purchase. Now, I'm not going to go into how you sort your spreadsheet out or how you filter it, because this isn't a spreadsheet masterclass video. So I'd ask you to go and figure that out for yourself. Or you can, of course, upload it to Google Gemini or some other AI tool and get it to do it for you. Or even ask a friend. Right, now you've done that, you can prioritize which ones you want to work on. Can you cut any of those lines out completely? Clearly, that's the first question. Only you can decide that. For the ones that you don't want to cut, and particularly for those regular costs, it's time to negotiate these down. And think in terms of years, not just the saving you can make each month. For example, if I'm negotiating a £75 a month TV subscription down, then I reckon I could easily save £10 a month doing this. To some, this might not sound like a lot, but over a year, that's £120. It's also over 13% saved if you're interested. My last TV subscription was actually £75 a month, and I negotiated it down to £42 a month. So don't only assume you'll get a bit either. You can do much better than you think. Why put money into a company's pocket rather than keeping it in yours? I just realized this was something I covered in my first ever video on YouTube 3 years ago. Wow. I negotiate my monthly costs regularly, at least once a year. And I've been doing that for years. And yet I still find I'm surprised by how many things I miss out negotiating on. Once you see some success, you'll find that this spurs you on to find even more things that you can cut costs on, often without reducing any benefit you're actually receiving. And even when you do reduce or cut completely, you'll feel empowered with that little bit more control with your money than you've ever had before. You'll then find something else happens. This way of thinking, the natural next step I've found, becomes thinking about other costs that may not have been captured by these 3 months. What about that annual membership you pay in October or whenever, but you pay it every single year? That home security payment, or a fitness app subscription that renews every year, and I bet lots of other things. Housing costs, i.e. rent and mortgage costs, are obviously big ones, and those might need more closely looking into to see what mortgage term you're fixed to. There's more on that on a video before, which I'll link to somewhere over here. And if you're renting, when was the last time you tried to negotiate your rent? If you're a good tenant, your landlord will want to keep you, if they are also a good landlord, of course. Of course, your landlord may not agree, but my thinking on all this type of stuff is, try it. The worst you can hear is no. And even then, I'd push again. I wouldn't stop at the first no. I'd probably have to hear no a few more times before I move on to the next thing to negotiate. I hope that once you've done all this, you'll be in much more control of your money. Then you'll be in a better place to start a new list. This time it will be what you want to spend your money on. And this doesn't have to be the stuff that you're already spending money on. It will undoubtedly include some stuff you spend on already, of course, but it will go beyond that too. This is stuff that you want to spend money on. If you haven't gone on holiday recently, for example, then you could put down holiday on this new list. Or if you want to support a charity you love, then you could put that charity's name down on your new list. Or you want to add more to your stock and shares ISA, your investments, then you would put down investing on this new list. Like the listing of costs earlier, this gets this all down on paper or on a spreadsheet and gets it out of your head. And just like that previous list on outgoings, you'll find that there's more things on this new list than you thought there'll be. Just the act of doing this will open your mind up to new possibilities. And with your costs under better control, you may be able to look at other areas of spending that you don't actually enjoy spending money on, and perhaps don't need to. You can start making decisions to divert spending from these areas that you don't want to spend on any longer to the things on your want to spend on list. Knowing, not guessing your costs, gives you data to look through and then make conscious decisions on. It gives you the power not only to know where to focus your attention, but also what to negotiate down, where you can really make a difference and stop waste, or stop what you might have started with all the best intentions, but it's not helping you or making you happy now. And then you can make a decision to move that financial resource, that money of yours, to something you want to do instead. I really want to engage with my audience here. And yes, that means you. Let me know what worked for you and what didn't. And if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer as many as I can in the first few days after this goes live. I'm here to help. And for those who are wondering who won the prize from the game that was announced by our sponsor, earlier in this video, it was you. You won. Well done. It's all automatic, so you don't need to do anything. I've opened up the comment section below for you. Yes, for you. You lucky thing, you. Excellent work. You smashed the like button at exactly the right time. And as an extra special bonus, you'll want to watch this video over here next because it's been chosen as the most relevant one for you.